Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Tyler here from SplitScreenCraft Yu-Gi-Oh! This is my second channel and this is going to be my first video on this channel. As you guys know, this is going to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel and I'm very much into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I wanted to do a little bit of a deck profile for you guys today. I know a lot of people used to run the Odd Eyes Magician Performapal build, but I've got my own little build, maybe changed a few things around just a tiny bit, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys today what we're rocking. So we're going to go ahead and knock this out right now. I'm going to ask you guys to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There's more content coming. I just need to collect some money to build up some cards and stuff and open some packs for you guys, and I think that'll be interesting. I also have a second deck profile that'll probably be coming sometime in the near future, but the other deck's definitely not as cool as this one. So anyways, let's jump right into it. We're running one Wisdom Eye Magician. Let me go ahead and get the Magician build out of the way really quick. One Wisdom Eye Magician. This card is limited to one because it's really broken. Basically, if you have a Magician in your other zone, so if you have like this set up here, you can destroy this guy and then add one from your deck to that zone. So it's a very good card as long as it's a Magician card. So he's very good for calling Magicians from your deck to the field. Next up, we got Dragon Pulse Magician. This is a low scale, as you can see. He's got the normal pendulum, so he is going to be used for his pendulum effect. Once per turn, if you have a Magician in your other zone, you could just discard one pendulum monster to destroy one face-up monster on the field, I believe it is. Let's go ahead and check that out. One face-up monster, yes. So I run one of this guy. Some people might run two, but I think he's best at one because you really don't need to destroy a whole lot of monsters with this deck because you're basically overpowering the enemy with your monsters already. So next up, I run one Noble Dragon Magician. The reason for this being is because he's the main tuner of the deck. His effect is if there's an Odd Eyes on the field, if he's in the graveyard or your hand, you can actually special summon him to the field and lower the level of that Odd Eyes monster by 3, which allows you to synchro for your 7 stars, and you know, you can make an 8-star, you get a 9-star, whatever you want to make basically. But he's definitely best for using Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and getting that level 7 synchro out there. So one Noble Dragon Magician, definitely a needed card in the deck. 2 Oath Dragon. The only reason I run 2 of this guy and not 3 is because I found that having 3, yeah, I did pull him a lot and I did get his combo going, but I didn't really need to have 3 because most of my monsters don't go to the graveyard a whole lot. Maybe every now and then, depends on what kind of deck you're playing against, you'll get a deck that might send your monsters to the graveyard. That's definitely when you want to side in your 3rd Oath Dragon Magician. But for my deck, I'm only running 2. I kind of play more casual than most people, so I don't really need all this power. The people I play against don't really have updated decks yet. I'm trying to convince them to do so. Maybe you'll see them in future videos. But 2 Oath Dragon Magicians. Basically, when he's normal or special summoned, you can target a Magician Pendulum monster or Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard, except for him, and add it to your hand. So he's really good. And then his Pendulum effect is you can add one face-up Magician or Odd Eyes Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand if you have a Magician in your other zone. So he's definitely a good card. I only run 2 though. Some people might argue with me over that. Whatever, get over it. Anyways, Dragon Pit Magician, I run 3 of this guy. The only reason I run 3 of this guy is because destroying back rows, spell, and trap is definitely something that you need to do. Basically, if there's a Magician in your other Pendulum zone, he works just like Dragon Pit or Dragon Pulse. Discard a Pendulum monster and destroy a spell or trap on the field. I don't believe it has to be face up or face down. No, it just says any spell or trap, so this could hit field cards, this could hit back rows, this could hit Pendulum monsters, or Pendulum Zone spells. So definitely a really good card. Plus he has a high scale. He has 8, so that's definitely something that's needed in these decks. You need your high scale and your low scale. If you don't know how pendulums work, you might want to research that a little bit. That's for another video. We won't go into that right now. But anyways, that's it for the Magician build. Next up, we've got the Odd Eyes, which is not very much actually. I don't run a whole lot of Odd Eyes. I know people run a bunch of different ones for Sky Iris. But I do run 3 Sky Iris in this deck, but I just decided to keep it with the 3 Pendulum Dragons and the 1 Barrage Dragon. I didn't used to run this card, but I figured that having another Odd Eyes target for Sky Iris that's high scale would definitely be good because I only have one other one, and as you can see, he's right there. But yeah, this guy is going to be good for your high scales, and you can also target him with Sky Iris, like I said. And obviously, the Pendulum Dragons are your big beaters. They're going to do the most damage. You can get these out pretty easily. The deck basically revolves around these guys, so that's it for the Odd Eyes. Well, somewhat it for the Odd Eyes part of the deck. We're going to jump into the Performapals, which I don't run a whole lot of these either. I only run 2 Sorcerers. This is what's his name? Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. He's a really good card. Some people, I see him running at 3, but I decided to bump him down to 2 because, like I said, I don't run a whole lot of Performapals, so he only targets basically these 2. And if we move on to this next card here, Performapal Odd Eyes Unicorn. He is an Odd Eyes as well, so he can be targeted by Sky Iris. And he's also a Performapal. Plus, he has a high scale, as well as this guy here, Performapal Skull Crobat Joker, which is the last Performapal I run. He's limited to 1 because he's so good and broken. He's a high scale, and when he's normal summoned, you can add a Performapal monster, Magician Pendulum, or an Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand except for him. So this could target pretty much any card in your deck. This is a really good play, especially with this guy right here. When he's special summoned, you can target 2 cards you control, destroy them, and add Performapal monsters with different names up to the number of cards you destroyed. So basically you're going to be targeting this guy, or if you don't have Sky Iris, you'd target him, who is also another high scale. And he's also a low scale, which is good. His Pendulum effect is okay. Basically, when he Pendulum summons a Performapal monster, all the Performapal monsters that control gain 1000 attack until the end of the turn. Pretty solid. Definitely something that people do run at 3, I see, but I felt that I only needed 2 because I cited in a couple other different cards that people might not have in their decks. But that's going to be all for the Performapal engine of the deck. Next up, we have the random monsters, which are, you know, I only run 1 Magispector in this deck, and that's Chiron. He's limited to 1 because he's so broken. Basically, you can target 1 Pendulum monster in your Pendulum zone or in your monster zone, and 1 monster your opponent controls, and return them to the hand any turn. This is on any player's turn, so that's why he's limited to 1, because he's pretty broken. You can Pendulum summon him every single turn pretty much if you have the option available, and he's going to keep returning your opponent's monsters. And you don't have to return this monster. You could summon a weak monster, excuse me, and you could Pendulum summon or return the other monster and their monster as well, and keep this guy on the field so you could use its effect during your opponent's turn, which is great. Next up, this is a card that most people don't run in this deck, but I found it to be absolutely amazing. I used to run 2, but I figured bumping it down to 1 was better because I had a lot of high star monsters, high level monsters in my deck, and I needed to be able to normal summon. So this is Aether, the Evil Empowering Dragon. Basically, when he's normal or special summoned, you could target 1 monster on the field and banish it, which is absolutely amazing. His Pendulum effect, not something that you really want to do unless you run 2 of these guys, but for that effect down there, he pretty much comes out every turn, and this will allow you to banish as much of your opponent's monsters as you can, which is great. I think this is a great card. Next up, I'm running 2 Mist Valley Apex Avions. 2 of this guy because he's absolutely broken, like no joke. This card is it's probably going to get limited or banned next ban list, but I don't know, we really can't say for sure. He's been out since Hidden Arsenal 02. I mean, that's a long time ago. But basically, when any effect is activated, you can select 1 Mist Valley card you control and return it to the hand. That includes himself. So when this card's on the field, a spell card, a trap card, or a monster, any kind of effect that activates, you're going to go ahead and return him to your hand, negate the activation of that card, and destroy it. It's absolutely amazing, and he is a 7-star monster. The only bad thing about him is he's not Pendulum. When he dies, he will go to the graveyard, but if you can keep him alive, and if you run 2 in the deck, I think you're good with this card. This card can pretty much save the game for you. You'll be able to negate pretty much anything that comes your way, and he's honestly needed in a deck like this, I'd say. Because they don't really rely on negate a whole lot. But anyways, next up we have 2 Archfiend Eccentrics. This card is absolutely amazing. I just added it into the deck. The only downside to it, I would say, is it is a level 7 Pendulum scale, and most of the monsters in this deck that you want to have out are level 7. This only allows you to get level 6, which sucks. But anyways, you can target 1 other spell or trap card on the field, destroy both it and this card, which is great. That's if it's in its Pendulum zone. And then if it's in the monster zone, I believe you can tribute it and then target 1 monster on the field. Yeah, okay. So you can either have it on the field and destroy a monster, or you could have it in the Pendulum zone and destroy a spell and trap. And then if this card's on the field and uses that effect, when he dies, he goes face up to the extra deck, which means Pendulum summon next turn if you have a low enough scale, which is absolutely amazing. This card right here, run it at 2 definitely. I would say don't push 3 in a deck like this. You might be pushing a little too hard if that's the case, but definitely a good card just to have 2. Absolutely amazing for the deck. Last up, we have the Magical Abductor. Pretty sure everyone knows what this card does by now. It's absolutely insane. Basically, if he's in the Pendulum zone, each time a spell card is activated, it gets a spell counter. Then you can remove 3 counters from it to add any Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. These spell counters include when you activate another card in your Pendulum Zone, when your opponent plays a spell card, anything, she'll get her counters. And she is a rather low scale. I wish she was 2, but she is 3, so that will allow you to summon 4 and above, which is absolutely amazing for this deck. Like I said, I wish she was 2 so I could summon that level 3, maybe get that Archfiend Eccentric back on the field, but either way, you know, she's good. Definitely run 3 of her in a deck like this. I'm sure she's used in all kinds of other decks as well, but I haven't really branched out too much to see that. But really good card. I would definitely recommend it. Alright, let's move on to the spell section of the deck, which actually I don't run a whole lot of Spell and Trap, but I definitely run Terraforming and Sky Iris. I mean, obviously that's kind of the main card of the deck other than Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Your 2 Terraformings, obviously, to call a field card from your deck to your hand. And then Sky Iris, which keeps the deck running, basically. Protects any, what is it, Magician, Performapal, and Odd Eyes cards in your Pendulum Zones, so they can't be targeted by card effects. And once per turn, you can destroy 1 card you control that's face up and add an Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, which is great for sticky situations, you know, when you need to get your Odd Eyes high scale, which I showed you before. You got some Odd Eyes high scale targets to get over there, and then if you need some beaters on the field, that's going to be your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. And yeah, I would definitely recommend running 3 of these. You could bump it down to 2, but 3 just to be safe, and then maybe always keep 2 Terraforming, I'd say, because it's definitely going to get this card to your hand as soon as you can possibly do. Next up, Pendulum Call. This card's limited to 1. Basically discard a card, add 2 different Magician Pendulum monsters from your deck to your hand. What does it say? If your opponent... No, this is not the right one. You can only activate 1 of these. It's limited to 1. Basically, this is going to get you your scales if you're down to 0 scales. You know, you'll discard a card, add 2 Magicians, you'll get your low scale, your high scale, whatever you need, basically. This card's broken. There's a reason why it's limited to 1. Next up, I'm running this card just as a temporary, just to try it out. It's called Amazing Pendulum. A lot of people don't run this card, but I do find myself in situations where I'm completely dry and I don't have any cards in my Pendulum Zone, even after I've used my, my Pendulum Call. So basically what this is going to do is if you have no cards in your Pendulum Zones, you could add 2 Magicians from your extra deck that are face up to your hand. So that way you could play them in your Pendulum Zones again, because once they're sent to your face up extra deck, you obviously can't play them from that extra deck. But yeah, I'm just kind of testing this card out just to see how it goes. I haven't dueled with it yet, but I will let you guys know in the future. I'll probably do another deck update or something. Next up, we got Odd Eyes Fusion. We run 1 Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, which is the Fusion Odd Eyes monster, and this is the only way I have to fuse them. I used to run Performapal Trump Girl, but I took her out because I just couldn't really work her around all these new cards I was adding in, like the Mist Valley, the Eccentric, stuff like that. But basically, this is going to allow you to fusion summon from your hand or your side of the field any Odd Eyes monster. And if your opponent has 2 or more cards than you do, 2 or more monsters, and you control no monsters, you could use monsters from your extra deck, which is absolutely amazing. This will definitely win you games. Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon is great. Like I said, I only run 1 way to fuse them though, so whatever. Next up, we got Raigeki. Obviously, everyone knows what this is. Destroy all your opponent's monsters that they control. And then Twin Twisters, which is a very good staple. It's like the new MST. You know, you discard a card. Let me get the focus. Discard a card, then target up to 2 spell or trap cards on the field and destroy them, which is absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's the new MST, guys. It's broken. It's kind of expensive, though. 1 Bottomless, just because destroying and banishing is kind of always a slap in the face. 1 Deep Dark Trap Hole. This is a level 5 or higher effect monster, so it kind of works like Bottomless, but it's only level 5 or higher, so you got to be careful how you play it. But it's cool to have 2 because Bottomless is only limited to 1, I believe, and then this could kind of be like your second Bottomless in a way. Next up, Torrential Tribute. Very good staple. I would recommend playing that in a lot of different decks. It's a good shutdown card. It's like a slap in the face, basically. 1 Warning, and last up we got the Solemn Strike. If you can afford more Solemn Strikes, I'd definitely replace this Warning with a Solemn Strike, but it is like a $30 card at the time of this video going up, and I was fortunate enough to pull 1 from this bad boy right here. I bought like 4 of these and pulled Solemn Strike off of that, so it was a good card to pull. And like I said, you could replace the Warning with another strike if you have the money, but I do not have the money. Next up, we're going to move on to the extra deck, which I've been trying to build and work with and kind of learn all these new things. 1 Performage Trapeze Magicians. I'm not going to read his effect because he's very long, but he's definitely a good card that you want in this deck. let's summarize it a little bit. Basically, detach, and a monster can attack twice that turn, but then it dies at the end phase, which is absolutely amazing. Pull off some really good combos with this card. Next up, number 101, Silent Honor Arc. He's okay. I mean, I've seen people kind of play other cards beside him, but I really like the fact that you can take one of your opponent's monsters that's special summon and attach it to this card, which is absolutely insane. You could steal one of your opponent's monsters, and then if you could keep them alive, they're not going to get that monster back. Really good card. 2 level 4 monsters. Awesome. 1 Castell. Pretty sure everyone knows what Castell does by now, so we're just going to leave that at that. I started running this card, number 24, Dragulus, the Vampiric Dragon. I haven't used him yet, but he seems like he would definitely work with this deck. I do have the ability to make 6 stars, and I believe if we look behind this guy, I have another 6 star that I was kind of debating on using. Ebon High Magician, I used to use him, but I found that he's kind of low. He's a 23, and his effect it's pretty solid, but I preferred Vampiric Dragon. I want to try him out, though. I haven't used him in a duel yet, like I said, so we'll see how it goes. Next up, we run 2 Norito, the Moral Leaders. Like I said, you're going to be making 6 stars, and most of your deck is Spellcasters, so these are your Oath Dragons right here. The only reason I run 2 of these is because Oath Dragon pretty much always comes back, I've found, like non-stop. I could get him back any kind of way. And yeah, this guy basically detach 1 material, negate 1 spell or trap card per turn during either player's turn. It's absolutely amazing. It's broken. Next up, we're running Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Kind of iffy, but definitely a cool card just to kind of learn and mess around with and play. He is 2800, which is nice. I wish he was 3000, but it's whatever. Cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has XYZ material. That's a pretty good effect. Next up, 2 Absolute. Absolute is, you could probably run this at 3, honestly, and take out like a flare, because basically when you attack, this guy can detach a material and negate that attack, and then after he does that, you can special summon an Odd Eyes from your hand or graveyard. So you can detach an Odd Eyes material from this guy, send it to the graveyard, and then special summon that material you detached, and then negate the monster's attack, obviously. So you can pull off some really good combos, especially with this guy right here. You can actually pull off a 1-turn kill with him in combination with this. It's absolutely amazing. You guys should definitely run these 2 cards. Like I said, you could bump this up to 3, but I just played it 2 just to be safe. Plus, I get a little wiggle room, you know, to kind of learn some new cards. 1 Rebellion. I don't really use this card a whole lot. I was thinking about taking it out. It's not the best, honestly, but it's definitely something that you could run in the deck. It's just an option. There's probably better cards out there at the moment, but the only thing that's good about him is the fact that he can make 3 attacks during each battle phase. I think that's the best part, and then he can destroy cards in Pendulum Zones when he's destroyed, so that could come in handy, but you have to kind of work with him. He can also be Pendulum Summon from the Face Up Extra deck if you can Pendulum Summon level 7, so he's definitely good for that. Other than that, though, he's just a big beater, you know, 3000. There's not really a whole lot of 3000s in this deck. Yeah. Next up, Clearwing Synchro Dragon. This guy can negate a level 5 or higher effect monster on the field, or any effect that would destroy a level 5 or higher effect monster he can negate as well. And then if he does that, he gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack, which is absolutely insane. Really good card, 7-star. Thought about running 2, but I decided not to. Next up, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. Basically, your opponent can't activate trap cards when your monsters attack, so it's pretty solid. And when it's special summoned, you can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone and special summon it. I usually don't do that because I like to keep my Pendulum scales up. But if you definitely are ready to kill, go ahead, special summon. Next up, we got this guy, Ignister Prominence. I find myself never using 8-star synchros. It's very hard for this deck to synchro summon level 8 with the way that I built it. But he's pretty good. Once per turn, you can target 1 Pendulum monster on the field or 1 card in the Pendulum Zone, destroy it, and if you do, shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. So, excuse me, that's pretty solid. You could destroy your monster if you need to play more, and you also get to return 1. I believe I have another card behind this that I bought him, but I never used him. Enlightenment Paladin. He's pretty okay, I'd say. He gets a spell card back from your graveyard, which could come in handy, but I decided, since I never really make 8 stars, this guy was probably better. And yeah, next up we run the Nirvana High Paladin. This is basically your shooting Quasar Dragon, if you guys remember that, 10 stars. When he attacks your opponent, when he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can half their life points, so they lose half their life points. It's absolutely insane, but his only downside is you have to use a non-tuner synchro monster, so you would have to have, like, you know, your level 7 on the field, and then your Nobleman Dragon Magician. he would have to come out on the field, and that would make 10. So yeah, you gotta be careful with him. He's also at 3,300, which is very nice. Definitely one of the bigger cards in the deck. And last up, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. This is the fusion monster. He's pretty awesome. I don't really find my deck needing him a whole lot. The best thing about him is the fact that he can negate anything. That's definitely a big win for the deck. But I found myself only needing to play one, as I have other cards that can basically cover these effects. You know, you got the Mist Valley Apex Avian, which can negate anything, and then you've got Norito, the Moral Leader, which basically he's going to negate one spell trap per turn. So you got this guy's effect covered everywhere else. And he is kind of low. That's the one thing I noticed. He's at 2,500. I wish he was at 28, but it's whatever. Alright, so that was the Odd Eyes Performapal Magician build. If you guys are interested in making this deck, you could definitely build off of my deck and then kind of work it. I've been hearing mixed reactions from people at the local game store that this deck is kind of built weird, so I don't really know. It seems to work for me, but like I said, I don't really go to tournaments or anything, so I'm not entirely sure on how the deck is supposed to be built. I just took a deck profile offline, kind of added my own stuff to it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, drop a subscribe. More Yu-Gi-Oh content will be coming in the future. This is the place to be for Yu-Gi-Oh content. We're going to have openings, discussions, deck profiles, duels. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to get all my friends involved with it. And yeah, if you guys have anything you want to talk about in the comments or let me know, please just go ahead and drop it down there. I'll make sure to get back to everyone. And yeah, if you have anything you would like me to change in the deck, or any questions about the deck or anything like that, yeah, just go ahead and drop it down in the comments. Get the conversation going, because Yu-Gi-Oh is all about meeting new people and conversing, right? Talking. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed, like I said, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.